What if we had a future that included regular meetings with guys that we know, connect with, want to develop something deeper with? What if that became normal? That every month or more frequently, we were able to meet together to share our ideas, our views about this stage of life, moving into our wisdom years. Every city had a community building this way, and we started to meet face to face in person, having these real conversations, deepening our connection, building our friendships. And as we did this, we are supporting each other. We are building real community. For too long, the gay community has used that word community in a very loose and tangential way. Perhaps with aging and in the wisdom years, we gay men can really define and demonstrate what true community looks like. It's not a place where there's judgment and criticism of others. There's an openness and a willingness to accept different points of view and perspectives respectfully, maturely, and to learn how to provide unconditional love and support for each other in our journeys. And perhaps even more importantly, to support each other as we're aging. I know a lot of you may assume that if you've got a partner, you're fine. But what if one of you is gone sooner than the other? And that remaining partner is left in the lurch in terms of not having supports, not having connections. Those of us who are single, we think about this. We plan for this in some way, hopefully, or maybe we just worry about it. But when we are in this stage of life, we want to be thinking about what connections are we making? How significant and real are they? Are these people who are going to be with me to the end? Am I going to want to support them and them support me as I go through journeys? Because we know that aging is going to impact us all in different ways. And what I want us to be thinking about is how do we make these years the best years of our lives? How do we rise to the occasion of becoming the fullest, brightest, and best version of ourselves? So we think of that often in terms of our 20s, our 30s, our 40s. We relate it to our career and all of our accomplishments on that level, all the external stuff. But this stage of life, it's much deeper, it's much richer, it's relational. It's about how we're building community. It's about how we're building support. So this is more than the wisdom trust that we're building here is more than networking. It's about cultivating real, meaningful friendships. And yeah, we can start there virtually, but the goal, of course, is to have enough of us belonging to this community, this growing, expansive connection with other men, so that we can start to have face to face get togethers in our respective communities. And while we're doing this, we're also becoming mentors, de facto mentors, by stepping up into this place of wisdom. Now, a lot of guys are talked to kind of, oh, I don't know if I've got any wisdom to share. We all have wisdom to share. We have our life experiences. We've all gone through pain, trials, tribulations. We've had our successes and our achievements as well. So there's a lot that we can share in terms of mentoring. And we're building a brotherhood here that is one that we want to emulate in such a way that people will look at it and go like, wow, that's amazing. Because too often in the gay community, we don't do that. You know, we're quick to judge each other. We're quick to cast aspersions. We're quick to look at that type of gay isn't my type of gay, all of that kind of stuff, right? But we can get beyond all of that pettiness and we can recognize each other for being the beautiful humans, these lights of vibrancy and joy that we all ultimately can become. And in building that brotherhood and building these connections and deepening our conversations, moving beyond the superficial, entertainment driven kind of networks and socializing. All that's fine, but we do want to have more depth as well. And this doesn't have to be serious and foreboding. It can be enlivening and enriching. Like, who are we creatively becoming? Creativity is a huge part of this stage of life. How are we creatively growing into our elderhood? How are we creatively showing up for ourselves and others? How are we creatively becoming these mentor types in our community? So, this brotherhood is important, and it can start to become intergenerational as we grow and we expand. And in doing so, the younger folks who maybe don't fully understand the journeys that some of us have been through in our 6, 7, 8 decades of being on this planet, younger folks don't know what it was like to live through the 80s and 90s and the loss of so many men while, society and governments turned the other cheek. That loss is significant. And I know that some of us are still experiencing the trauma from that. The survival guilt at this stage in life is very real. These are things we don't talk about. But in the Wisdom Trust, we're open to having those conversations because they help us grow into our fullness. They help us to get over some of the things that may be stuck inside of us that are holding us back. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why we want to continue to grow and expand and have this future where there's real community happening, where elders are held up on a pillar, and that there are many role models out there that we can look to and say, I like what he's been up to. I like what he's doing. I like the legacy that guy there is creating. We don't have enough of that in the gay community. And we're changing that deliberately, consciously, intentionally in the Wisdom Trust. So that's the future that we're trying to build. And ultimately, the big plan here is to have co-living arrangements where we have physical facilities where aging gay men can live together, supporting each other, live in chosen family, have that network of support, not only tangentially in terms of being out there and available virtually or in real time, but living together, living in a building where where we are cohabiting and doing that chosen family situation. That's how we support each other. That's how we build something really worthwhile and something that we can all aspire to, because a lot of us are facing aging in a very alone or lonely kind of place, but we don't need to. We can support each other. So, having said all that, I want to leave you with a final reflection for these last 7 days that we've been indulging on in these topics. And there'll be more, but for today, the reflection is, imagine 5 years from now, what kind of community are you looking to be a part of? And how would that be different from your life today? What would be different in your life? So imagine 5 years from now, you're in this community. It's a community that you've been looking for. What will that be like? And how will that be different from your life today? Give that some thought and go ahead and share. Share in the comments below. Reach out to me. Join the Wisdom Trust. All of that information is available in the platforms where you're looking at this, in the About pages or the bios. And you can just reach out to me directly, of course. All right, that's it for today. And we will see you tomorrow.